Hello, everybody. This is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speaks Seminars, and this is Coffee Talk with the listing pros in real estate. And my guest this week is one of my dearest, and I think he's my best friend at this point, Sal Joseph Crifasi of Crifasi Real Estate. Sal, what took you so long to be on this show? And we got some snow coming down now.
Merry COVID Christmas.
Merry COVID Christmas. How are you?
I'm doing good, Joe. I do have to say you are one of my best real estate friends for sure.
True that. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I already know who you are, but I want the audience to know who's Sal Crifasi and where is he from and how do you get into real estate?
Okay, so I'm Sal Joseph Crifasi, not Salvatore Crifasi. So let's see. My father is Salvatore Crifasi, and he's my father, and he's also my reason for being in real estate. He became licensed in the state of New York in 1974. Became a broker in 1979. I'm born in 1983, so even let's see. My parents weren't even married when my father was licensed. And I think they were just married at the time when he became a broker and decided to open up his own office. And I never had an interest in getting into the real estate business. I saw it as something, that it was just a job that I really didn't even understand, as a child. I grew up in real estate, but I also wasn't too aware of like the ins and outs. I wasn't shadowing my dad on appointments or going to open houses. I just saw it as a job that he did, that he was a business owner, and spent a lot of time in dedicating his hours towards cultivating his business. And eventually, as I got older, I started to understand his work ethic. And my father and his brother are business partners. My Uncle Joe is also a realtor, also a broker, and I would watch them at family functions, and they would talk shop here and there, but literally would go right over my head. So I know some people that were in the business had family members that were realtors, and they would talk about how they grew up in it, and even though I did essentially grow up in it, I didn't really know what real estate was about. And one thing that was required for me by my parents was that I would have to, even if I wanted to get involved in the real estate business, I would have to graduate college before I would be able to work full time. So my parents always wanted me to go to college, to pursue my own education and career. And one thing fell into another. I'm not going to tell you my whole life story, but when I was in my early 20s, I was working as a cabana boy in Atlantic Beach, where Joe is from, at Sun and Surf Beach Club. And that's where I first really grasped, the art of sales. And I started to learn, pretty early on, when I was 16 years old, I would have this scrapbook where I would write everybody's name down. And if anyone's familiar with working at a beach club as a cabana boy, you're basically serving people it's almost like a waiter, in the sand. You're meeting people in the parking lot, taking their garbage, out, or setting up chairs and umbrellas in the sand, filling up kiddie pools, going to get them ice, and maybe, and not so much drinks or food, but bringing their stuff, from either the beach back to their cabana or from their car up to their cabana, and various tasks. And
I was the guy at the sands in Atlantic Beach that would make the sandwiches for the cabana boys to bring to those people.
This is your.
I know exactly what you was just saying.
But I had my scrapbook, and I would write down everybody's names. I would have their kids' names. I would write down notes about them and just little personal touches. And I don't know where I got this idea from, but I started to take notice that if you made an interest in somebody and made it personal, that they would be surprised. And I thought it was so trivial that it would become so, it would make such an impact. But I remember this one lady, and I mean, I forgot, I think her name was Carolyn. I'm just throwing out a name. That's
Right.
cool. And I was her cabana boy the year prior. And I studied, the next every year, you typically get assigned the same section of your beach club, and then eventually you move up to better spots, where there's maybe more cabanas, more responsibility, essentially more money. But you're typically in a section at least 2 seasons. And I remember the following season, I studied the book, and the members would start coming, and I'd be reciting their names, and this one lady who was maybe at the cabana 6 or 7 times. Like she wasn't really present, the season prior. And I remembered her name. Like I said, "Hi, Carolyn, how are you?" And she's like, "Wow, you remembered my name?"
Mm.
And that impact, from that one little event, it just like resonated, and stuck with me. And I made it a priority to remember people's names, remember little trivial things about them. And that's really where I learned to use the words craft of sale,
Right.
just becoming like involved in people, and sales is people. And
These
fast,
are your golden nuggets. You're giving the audience a
yeah,
golden nugget right now. You really are.
yeah, just like remembering little things, like even, and then my mom would always, anyway, so I'll get to that. But in my early 20s, I was still working as a cabana boy, and as a summer job. And then I was a bus boy in a sushi restaurant, similar in sales, but in service, catering to people. And those little jobs, which were big jobs at the time, were the stepping stones to me, like really understanding how it is to work with people, to serve people, to have the best interest of people in mind. And the more that you show care and charisma to those people, the more it pays back in dividends. And eventually, I decided, working as a cabana boy, there's a timeline. Once you get into your early 20s, once you get to like 22, 23 years old, and you see the cabana, like you're working with 14-year-olds, and you're like, oh, there's the old guy, that hasn't figured his life out yet. So my dad actually, let's see how this, my brother actually had gotten his real estate license the summer prior. And he was working with me at the beach club, but he didn't like it as much as I did. And so he already had his license. My sister had her license, and they would work with my dad on the side, and I would watch them, and I'd be like, I still didn't know what they were doing. I had no idea. So I wound up getting my real estate license. I decided, summer of 2003, I believe, summer 2004, I decided this was going to be the time where I would get my real estate license, and I would start working, with my brother in an office that my dad had in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, actually on the north side, on North 6th Street and Bedford. And my training literally was showing up to that office. It was in this like little basement, 6 steps down on North 6th Street, and hot, and just summertime dampness in a summer, and in a basement. And my trainer was my younger brother.
Oh, boy.
He was the one that was like showing me like what to do, like cold calling people, going through lists of landlords, asking if they had apartments for rent, and sitting in the office by a desk next to a phone, waiting for people to walk in or waiting for people to call, and putting stuff on Craigslist. That was the beginning. Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry about that. Somebody's
No,
calling.
you're good. You're good.
So that was the beginning of my real estate career. Just the glamorous life of cold calling, Craigslist, and going out there, 7 days.
But you built a foundation.
Yeah.
A good work ethic. You had the work ethic. You built this foundation, so to speak, and here you are today, one of the most successful realtors in Brooklyn, Queens. Your father and your uncle have built successful offices. You own an office now in Brooklyn, in Greenpoint, my old stomping grounds.
East Williamsburg now.
Oh, sorry, East Williamsburg. It just keeps baffling me, all these little neighborhoods that have popped up, and I didn't even know these were even names when I was a kid growing up there.
You lived in Williamsburg. It wasn't a desired location, So even people that lived in Williamsburg, they just said they were from Greenpoint because they didn't want to have the bad connotation of Williamsburg.
Yeah, but we used to go to my relatives' house, Fortunato's in Williamsburg on a Sunday and have a little espresso, a little cappuccino with a pastry, and it was really a good time to grow up, and it's probably an even better time to grow up there now. And what I'm seeing is that the flavor of the boroughs has come really alive with the growth and the spurts and the outlay of all the expansion of Manhattan. And I so wanted you on this show to talk about a little bit about listings, what makes you a listing pro, how you get listings, because this is a teaching tool for realtors, but to expand on that later on in the show about what is happening right now to Manhattan and how it's affecting your business. So let me get into this one question with you. What is your special sauce to listing properties? Now, I know you do residential and commercial, right?
I think my secret sauce, it's leveraging relationships that I've already developed over the years. And what I mean by that is everyone has, hopefully, family or friends that they keep in contact with. Sorry, this is I got a little bit of.
I was like, what's going on here? It's like a little.
My father-in-law's an electrician. We have to have him come
over. A little wiring problem in your house.
He wired these outlets, so this is on him now.
Oh,
he's in trouble.
That's okay. You're still good.
Is leveraging my current relationships, that I have with people, and right now, doing that through forms of social media, Facebook, Instagram. And I mean, you don't want to be that secret agent, like, oh, you're in real estate, but you're not talking to people about it. If you don't talk to people about your profession and what you do and the sales that you perform, nobody's going to know. And I'm sure you've dealt with this in the past, and many people in this business they'll see one of their friends or acquaintance, list a property or buy a piece of real estate, and then they run into that person and they're like, oh, well, what happened? I saw that you bought this, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to bother you. I don't, I'm sure you've gotten that before. Like, you're so busy.
Sorry, Joe, I didn't know how this works, this real estate business. I'm not in your business. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, this guy called me up and he sent me a few cards in the mail, and I called him up, and it's like, I know that you're so busy. I didn't want to bother you. And I tell people all the time, like, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. We may be friends, you may be a family member of mine, but this is my job, and people need to hear that. People need to hear it from you, that this is your job. This is what you do for a living. This is what pays the bills, puts food on the table, pays your rent or your mortgage. And without these transactions, your livelihood, goes down to essentially zero.
Correct. And when somebody buys from another person, they don't realize that they're taking food off of your table to feed your family. And I don't expect everybody to come to me but you and I, right? And this is what makes us kind of special and unique to our profession, is that you've actually referred your family member to me here on this side of the island. I referred my family member to you on your side of real estate where you do business the most. And we worked together. We had this synergy, and we also have a friendship, but we work. This is collaboration at its best right here.
Correct. And like without giving that information away, you can't hoard it, and that's, it seems to be that people tend to think, that we have these secrets, that we have to hold on to, because if we share our secrets, they're going to steal it from us, and they're essentially going to take business away from us. But from what I've learned, the more that you give away, the more that you receive in return.
Totally. So the technology you use to market your listings is Instagram and Facebook. How is that working for you?
I mean,
You're getting a lot of play with it, or you're not getting a lot of play with it?
I think it's the soft touches. People see, like, oh, I just sold a house here, or I just listed a property there, and they're going to recognize that. And when the time does come up, they're going to reach out. And over the last, let's see, 10 years or so, with more of my input into like social media platforms, specifically Facebook at first, and even it was just very, very casual. It wasn't anything structured, it was done sporadically. The more that I've put in, the effort of placing out content, the more that I've gotten back. And being involved, I would say my two biggest forms of consistent business is through like either social media or being involved in other types of activities. And something as simple as like going to the gym and becoming friendly with people, and then people knowing that I do real estate on the side, or I do real estate as a profession, that I'm in the gym, but I also sell real estate. That's my job. They know that, or they've come to me and asked me for help.
So your business has really been about relationships and networking and leveraging those relationships. Technology is, even though it's frequently used, it's just an arm to get your branding out there. Correct?
Correct. I mean, I think you need the arm to use the hand. So, I mean, without it, do I think I would be, without it, I don't think I would be as successful.
And your father and your uncle, the name, has also been equated with a very good reputation, and people who have dealt with them in the past, and the referral business has been a steady growth in your business, particularly as someone who got into real estate later and leveraged that as well.
Yeah, and I would say one thing that the common, like me, my dad, and my uncle, were totally different people. We have three totally separate personalities. I would say that I'm a blend of the two of them. But the one commonality I would say is we all give information for free. So people will call and they will ask us, oh, well, what do you want? What should I do with this? I'm selling my property, here, and I'm possibly looking to reinvest it somewhere. How many times did I hear my dad or my uncle explain to somebody what a 1031 tax exchange is? How many times, we've referred, somebody either to an architect or an elder care attorney, or sent them over to an accountant, to get tax advice, before putting their property up for sale, or even convincing somebody not to sell.
Right.
Or not to buy right now. Maybe now's a time, you just decide, to put this on the back burner for a year or two until certain things get sorted out, and that's where I've noticed their success and my success has been not so much in the closing of the transactions, but what happens prior to. And I've had clients of mine that I've worked with for 15 years that I haven't made $1 with.
Right.
And
well, that's why we get along. We have a lot in common. Our philosophies are in common. Your dad's, your uncle's, yours, mine. We share a very similar philosophy, and it's we have that unique blend of just being real and being transparent with our clients. Whereas I see other agents in the business that all they do is they fluff to get They think that's going to attract people to them. People want honesty.
I mean, it's work. It's what works for you. Some people are extremely successful going into a listing presentation with the script and reading off of it, and they do very well. Very well. I've never used a script. Never once have I've used a script. Never once have I. It's just not who I am, and I've tried to use it. I've taken some classes in the past, where there were like cold calling scripts that we would use and reaching out to expired listings and going off that script. And it was just painful for me picking up the phone and reading off of a script. It went against what felt comfortable for me, but I'm not saying that it's not going to work for other people. Some people, they're able to take that sales pitch and even if it's just one sales pitch, and they're able to make a lot of money off of that one pitch.
What would be your advice to somebody getting into the business? Hang on with it. What would be your advice to somebody getting into the business?
My advice for somebody getting into the business, listen to the last 10, 15 minutes of what we've just spoken about, going first towards, your family members and friends, and letting them know that you're in the real estate business, letting them know that you're licensed, you're looking for some work, and that you have an interest in looking out for their best interest.
And being that we've been in the business a long time, your dad, your uncle, myself, what would you, if you had to give a piece of advice to one of us, if you didn't know us, what would that advice be for someone like yourself who's been in the business, who's now seen, the more, I don't want to say modern because we're still living in these times, but what kind of advice would you give to people who were experienced? Answer the phone is first and foremost.
Be afraid of change.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to adopt new ideas, and be able to understand, that things have changed and we need to grow. We can't always expect, that. Man,
I don't know. Today is not the day.
10 o'clock on a Friday, people are calling.
10 o'clock on a Friday in the holiday season.
And
I'm getting spammed. That's what I'm getting.
And a snowstorm.
In a snowstorm.
Don't be afraid.
I should put back the snow that we had over here earlier. Here's the snow. It's snowing inside. There you go.
Don't be afraid, to change. Don't be afraid, to accept the fact that things are different, that the business is different, structures are different, and without being able to adapt and move forward, you're kind of sticking in the past.
Right. That's really some good advice. I've heard a lot of good advice from your fellow colleagues in Young Professionals Network of the Long Island Board of Realtors. I just want to touch upon that a little bit. You are and have been the recipient of one of the top 20 or 40?
Top 20? No.
Top 20 under 40. That's it. For the Long Island Board of Realtors. And you are president of the Brooklyn chapter for the Long Island Board of Realtors. You have about a couple of more days in December left.
Yeah, I got 20. What do I have? 13 more days?
But you've excelled to bring a presence to Brooklyn and certainly have brought that into the limelight. You want to talk about that with helping out your fellow members of the Long Island Board of Realtors who are doing business in Brooklyn. You started that trend years ago. I remember you telling me, and you pushed for that, and you won that debate for the Long Island Board of Realtors Board of Directors.
I mean, it was not easy, and it's still an uphill battle. We're not as present in the outer boroughs that I would like, and I mean, we definitely have a presence in Queens, but the presence in Brooklyn and Manhattan, is peanuts in comparison to the rest. So the goal is to continue that trend and
Awesome.
bring that brand awareness there, because I do feel like the realtor is a special type of organization.
And working with other organizations, like Rebney and Bronx Association of Realtors, Manhattan Board of Realtors, Staten Island Board of Realtors, we're all pretty much under the one roof of a realtor. And we should all be working together and sharing and maybe co-broking our brand with, not our brand, but co-broking our inventory with each other. Brooklyn Board of Realtors, I forgot to mention them as well. And I think we pretty much do that now a little bit better than we did, let's say 20, 30 years ago.
It's still tough. I mean, there's definitely some agents that are out there that don't cooperate, that make things difficult. And I mean, with market trends, as it shifts more.
Oops. I think no. Boy, we really have had a lot of things in 2020 with COVID. But my interview with Sal is going to continue, hopefully, if he presses the link. Sal, are you with me? Oh, I don't see you. Okay. There you are. There you are. There you are. All right. You're back. You're back.
Oof.
Oof.
That was a rough 30 seconds.
Okay. So we were talking about trends. We were talking about other realtors in cooperation. And we're talking about how do we get maybe all realtors to realize that we can't survive without each other.
I think no matter what, Joe, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't cooperate. And unfortunately, those people are going to exist forever. I think markets ultimately dictate the level of cooperation. And the more of it being a buyer's market, the more that the listing agent is going to cooperate with the buyer agent. And the more of it being a seller's market, the more that the more challenging it becomes to be a buyer's agent. And I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this now, with Long Island, especially like Nassau and Suffolk County, experiencing a lot of high demand. You're going to have 10, 15 offers on one of your listings, and you're going to have one happy person and 14 people that are unhappy.
Correct.
And it's discouraging. It can be discouraging, especially if you're new and you have somebody who falls in love with a place and they already picked out the paint and they already have their couch in the living room and they're sitting there and enjoying watching Netflix. They're visually and physically and mentally moved in already. And then they get the phone call from you like, oh, I'm sorry, but your offer got beat out,
Yeah.
And it becomes difficult, because we carry the burden of.
Well, and that's been a problem for a lot of agents, trying to get their offers in, and you think that you have a deal, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes along and outbids them. Let's talk about the shift going on in Manhattan. People moving out of Manhattan, people moving essentially out of New York. How have you been affected by that in your borough of Brooklyn and Queens? I know you do business all over the place, but when I think of Greenpoint, Brooklyn, I think of Sal Crifasi, and you've certainly helped me market and sell houses there. And I worry about those boroughs now with the exodus of people leaving Manhattan. Do you think that your business has changed in the last since COVID began? Here we are in December of 2020. What is your prediction for 21?
I think we're going to still experience people leaving, and I do believe that the prices were inflated already. That there was already a the disconnection between reality or like affordability for people. I mean, yes, like Greenpoint, Williamsburg, you could spend for a one-bedroom condo, you could be spending 750,000 to $1 million.
Incredible.
And does that make sense? I mean, it's all supply and demand, but I do feel like this is a great, I think there is some pros to this, that there's going to be some affordability kind of check-in, where things come down in price and will make it a little bit easier for people to buy again in those outer boroughs. And in Manhattan, I kid around with people. It's like, oh yeah, there's a 40-50% decrease in value, but a $10 million apartment's now $5 million or $6 million, but I can't afford $6 million apartment still. Like, so there's certain things that eventually, this will, the pendulum swings back and forth.
Right. And what do you think the commercial is going to do, being that more and more people are working from home?
I'm hoping for urban skyscraper gardens. That's what I'm hoping for. To create some of these office buildings into like urban farms that are 100, 200 stories high.
Nice.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's definitely going to be a repurposing of those skyscrapers. I think a lot of the commercial everywhere is going to have a dual purpose. I think there's going to be a lot of mixed use. We're going to hear a lot of that in 2021 and beyond. I think with the interest rates being low, you're going to see a lot of people refinancing and a lot of these investors coming out by the droves to buy up areas like Manhattan and into Greenpoint, into Queens. And I think that all of that I'm seeing here on the island, Nassau and Suffolk, there's certainly a boom of people coming here, but they still want that. Everybody still wants that deal. And I think New York will give them that opportunity. And I believe, I have faith that New York will come back stronger. Politically, I think there has to be a shift there too, but it will come back. And I've been telling people that a lot because I live here, and what affects me here on the island is a direct result of what is affecting you right now in your borough.
I mean, real talk and in real time. I listed a 2-family in Maspeth on Wednesday. I put it up on MLS on Wednesday. I didn't even have a chance to order the photographer yet because the family is moving to a different location, but I wanted to put it out there like before Christmas, and I didn't want to put it up the week of Christmas. And there's no pictures. There's no pictures online, just the picture in front of the house.
Okay.
People are just calling me. I think I have somebody just texted me before.
Are they paying you full price for that house? I don't want to know where it is, but is it full price?
Asking $899, and it's priced. The comps, showed that it was priced accurately, but people are calling within the first 2 hours, even in the midst of like the snowstorm happening. I had people calling me up, could I show the house tomorrow? Like, don't you see what's going on outside? We
are at this show has taped in mid-December, and this is unusual what's happening in our real estate market in the month of December. We're both very busy agents. I'm going to end the broadcast on one last question, and that is with the fiduciary responsibilities. If you had to pick from one of those duties of old car, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, and reasonable care, which one would you pick, Sal Joseph Crifasi?
I'm going to go with reasonable care.
And why?
I think that speaks to who I am, caring about people, serving people, and doing what I feel I do best, which is cultivating relationships and showing care with whatever relationship that has been formed or whatever transaction I'm involved in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sal, I want to wish you and your families, and certainly your father and your uncle, who I know personally as well, I wanted to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a healthy, happy, prosperous New Year to you and your families. And I want to thank you for coming on to the show. You're not just a realtor colleague of mine, you're a good friend, and you're a funny guy.
Can we put the snow back on before we close?
What is it?
We put the snow back on before we close?
Oh, yeah, we got to put the snow back before we close. That's how we're going to end our broadcast. I think you're my 75th broadcast for the year, my 75th guest. Join us here at the end of December, everybody, for the 2021 Realtor Predictions, where my guests will be Derek Hall from the Charter School of Real Estate. We're going to be making 2021 predictions as to where the real estate market is going. Sal, thank you so much for being my guest this week on Coffee Talk with the Listing Pros in Real Estate. This is Joe Sonona of Sonona Speaks Seminars, and we're making it snow all over again. Wishing you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate.
Absolutely.
Good holiday season to all of you.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe.
You got it. Take care, Sal.
All right. You as well.